Why do we celebrate Christmas?
We celebrate Christmas, really, is based on the two factors. Of course, the Old Testament leads towards Christmas with the promise of the Messiah. And all throughout the Old Testament, it comes to Christmas. The winter solstice is right around Christmas. I have heard that the date of Christmas was moved or invented to echo the celebration of the winter solstice. So we celebrate Christmas for two reasons now in the modern era. First is the world has come to mark that as the birth of Jesus Christ. And so the satsang of Christmas is worldwide. Yogananda celebrated Christmas on the 25th. But also it's the celebration of the consciousness promised in the Old Testament, that the consciousness of divine love as embodied by Christ in his life as the avatar is celebrated throughout the world. So the avatarship of Christ, the world mission of Christ, is played out in the Christmas story to such an amazingly symbolic and mystical portrait that it's just, the book was called The Greatest Story Ever Told. I'm sure that the Hindus would say that the greatest story ever told was Srimad Bhagavatam and the story of Krishna, but for this life of Christ, the story of Christmas, the inner meaning of Christmas, the difficulties that Mary and Joseph had in having the birth, having to travel for the census, no room in the inn, all the difficulties that we see symbolically of Christ consciousness being born in us are covered in that story. And so we celebrate Christmas because it's an opportunity culturally for the world to embrace truths which are eternal and that are rooted in the mystical birth of Christ consciousness within us. So it's one of the few times that the world is celebrating something that the yogis and the disciples of the mystic Christ can overlap with Santa Claus and Christmas trees and joy to the world and all those aspects. So it's a perfect overlay of the world's habits, cultural habits, and the mystical truths of the inner anatomy of the soul, the Christ center, the love and purity of Christ, Christ consciousness, the Om as represented by Mother Mary, giving birth to the Christ consciousness. So it's really a wonderful convergence of culture and the mystical practices of yoga and inner communion.